Herb Kuehne is this year's recipient of the Lieutenant Governor's Award for Distinguished Achievement.
I went to university in Edmonton at University of Alberta, graduated with civil engineering in 1976, and then I also got my MBA. It complemented the engineering degree very well. I became an engineer probably mainly because of my father and my uncle. My uncle became a professor in nuclear engineering. He always encouraged me to pursue engineering. My father was a welder and he was an entrepreneur too. I grew up in his shop, putzing around with all kinds of tools and became dangerous with the arc welder. I had a chemistry set that was the envy of everybody, and I can say it was a blast. When I graduated, I ended up being a petroleum engineer working for Texaco Canada. That was a great experience, but I quickly realized that I wanted to do more. And that's what drew me to consulting engineering. That's what drew me to Associated Engineering, and that they hired me as a municipal engineer back in 1977.
Herb had a lot of municipalities as clients. Places like Redwater, Fort McMurray, Slave Lake. He is, to this day, the best engineering planner I've ever worked with. Herb's crown jewel is going to be City of Cold Lake Marina.
At the time, it was the largest inland marina in Western Canada. Pretty proud of that. One of the biggest challenges we had was because of the distance across the lake. The waves that can come from a pretty significant storm were massive. We had to design a large breakwater that not only withstood the waves, but it also withstood the ice. Some of the biggest forces are actually expansion, contraction of ice up against the breakwater. It's a protected harbor then for these craft from some of the storms.
A good example of Herb's skills at a technical and project management level was the Fulton Creek Regional Wetlands, which was recognized by CEA with Award of Excellence. The White Mud Freeway was being extended. Large quantities of earthfill were going to be required to build up the roadway. There would need to be a stormwater management facility to accommodate a 10,000 person community. It became a naturalized wetland, accommodating wildlife and recreation, and provided enhanced treatment for the stormwater runoff.
Basically tried to imitate what nature does naturally. It was a departure from the traditional storm ponds that were being built for a long time.
Quite environmentally innovative. This was through Herb's leadership and dealing with both the city and the province to make this happen.
For Fort McMurray, I was involved with the Environmental Utilities Board, and I was an expert witness on behalf of Fort McMurray. The regional municipality with Buffalo needed help to meet the demands of all the people coming in. As a result of the testimony, the province did come forward and actually helped Fort McMurray with over $2 billion worth of infrastructure assistance.
Herb's legacy, certainly to Associated Engineering, is the fact that he has been able to attract capable, enthusiastic young staff to the company, mentor and train them, and they're still with the company.
As a junior, you don't know what you're getting into, but I certainly embraced it because of his leadership. He took myself on as well as others. I can't thank him enough for bringing me into this industry.
He's been such an incredible mentor for everyone, and he's just the epitome of this amazing engineer.
I've had the opportunity to work alongside Herb the first 8 to 10 years of my career, which is a blessing for me because here I am, an EIT coming out of school and get to work with someone with that knowledge base.
I was a project engineer working with Herb. He let me cut my teeth into managing the project, obviously under his oversight. I'd just come out of PSMJ training. The suggestions that PSMJ trainer had drilled into us was, okay, well, every task needs to be no more than $10,000, and we're dealing with a project here that's about $1 million in fees. And he says, do you really want to set up the project that way? You might want to reconsider, because that's going to get pretty difficult to manage on a monthly basis. I said, no, I'm going to stick with the plan. About 2 months later, I said, I probably should have listened to her. So that certainly was the launching pad for me in terms of managing large-scale major projects.
Together, we're stronger, and allowing them to bring out their ideas, it just helps build a better product. An opportunity presented itself where I became a public works director for one of our major clients, and I was only able to do that because I had such strong, great people behind me.
Our operation grew considerably. That had a lot to do with Herb and his building of a team, and also the strong relationships that he developed with our clients. When I would be communicating with our clients, Associated Engineering was not their engineer. Herb was their consulting engineer.
Even to today, when I'm visiting clients, I hear about Herb. He's left that imprint on communities.
I would make an appointment with a client, often that I hadn't met before. I would arrive and be greeted by somebody who would go on to tell me of the project he'd completed with Herb, how much he'd enjoyed it, and how much he'd learned from Herb.
One thing that I really admired is that he actually took on the role of general manager for Ontario, while also carrying his role as senior vice president of infrastructure for a few years.
Going to Ontario when Herb was there wasn't only sort of respect that the staff had for him and admiration, but actually affection.
I think the best part of being an engineer is the people. It's the people that you encounter in the jobs. It's your staff that you're working with, your colleagues, other consultants, our clients. And I think the best thing about it is having fun. And I do have to admit, I've had fun my entire career.
Throughout his career, Herb strived to elevate consulting engineering in Alberta and nationally.
Consulting Engineers of Alberta is a unique organization in that all of the member firms are fierce competitors. So how do you put all your fierce competitors in one room and get them to buy into a concept? Herb came to understand the value of speaking with one voice. He worked tirelessly with our members to advocate on qualifications-based selection. If you don't get buy-in from our members, it's not going to work. When you're buying engineering services, you're buying intellectual property as well. You can't ever do the lowest price. It's value for money. You have to choose the proper consultant.
He also recognized that we needed good people in our industry. Because of the competitive nature of our industry, salaries were lower than they should have been. Herb and the board at that time recognized that if we're going to attract good people in our industry, we need to improve the compensation.
So that we could match actually what was being paid in the public sector. It did allow us to attract the best and the brightest into the industry, and I think that's had a lasting benefit.
Herb was on the board very early in my tenure at ACEC, and very much a natural leader. He was a very effective public face and voice of the industry. It was on his watch that we completely reworked our governance. It really marked a maturing of the association and taking the association to the next level. We really raised our government relations game when Herb was chair. That was the first time in my memory that we actually were able to secure a meeting with the Prime Minister and have an important discussion about the federal government showing leadership in our community infrastructure.
Herb embodies the best qualities of a consulting engineer. There isn't a finer example of someone in our profession.
To someone that's put so much of himself professionally and personally into our industry, and always wanting the best outcome, wanting to make sure that not only are we successful as an industry, but we're also successful in delivering the promise of our industry to create a better quality of life for Canadians.
So I have to thank my family and my wife and my 2 children because they didn't see a lot of me. I tended to be traveling a lot around the country, and they're the most important part. As you advance, you take on different responsibilities, different opportunities. I haven't had one career. I've had about 8 careers within Associated Engineering.
The effort and the time and commitment that Herb has put into the industry, our company, Associated Engineering, truly was committed and really went above and beyond every day.
On behalf of the CEA, congratulations, Herb, on your outstanding commitment to consulting engineering.